Good afternoon and welcome to your Mindful Monday session for today. It feels for me, for some reason, that it's been a while, but it hasn't. It's been only a week, and it's lovely to be here with you. We'll just give it a minute or so. As always, I will introduce myself. I'm sure many of you know me already. My name's Henri. I'm one of the Vitality coaches here and a specialist in mental health and well-being. And today we're going to be looking at resistance. That's the topic for today's session. And we're going to take about 30 minutes to reset, to refresh, to relax, but also to explore resistance and what that means for me, but also what that means in our experience of life on a day-to-day basis. So we will do that, and we will talk about resistance in a couple of different ways. So hopefully you find it interesting, hopefully you find it informative, and hopefully you're able to take something away from the session today. And that's the most important part of these sessions, is that yes, it's nice to kind of set your week off in a nice slow pace, but also what's really important is what can we learn from this session to take into the rest of our afternoon, that we can take into tomorrow and take into the rest of our lives as well. Let's go ahead and define mindfulness, as we always do. If you've been to these sessions before, you'll know that I use the same definition. So I wonder if you're able to go along with it. I wonder if you remember. So mindfulness means maintaining a moment-by-moment awareness of our thoughts, our feelings, bodily sensations, and our surrounding environment through, of course, a gentle and nurturing lens. A moment-by-moment awareness. You think about 24 hours in the day, bring that down to an hour, bring that down to 60 minutes, bring that down to 60 seconds. And in those 60 seconds, that's what we're talking about, those moments. Mindfulness also involves acceptance, meaning that we pay attention to our thoughts and feelings without judging them, without believing, for instance, that there's a right or a wrong way to think or feel in a given moment. When we practice mindfulness, our thoughts tune into what we're sensing in the present moment, rather than rehashing the past or imagining the future. Our attention is fully focused on this moment, fully focused with the people that we are with the task that we are with, or with the situation that we're in. All of those thoughts, all of those feelings, all of those sensations, we bring our attention to those. We explore those. We don't spend too much time thinking about the past. We don't spend time thinking about the future. We are fully present in this moment. Beautiful. So let's go ahead and get ourselves comfortable. You can be lying down, of course. You can be sitting. I've got a chair with a back here. You can be sitting cross-legged in lotus position. What I would say is, if you're going to lie down, I don't want you falling asleep. If it's possible, make sure that your attention is with me. Stay with me. And when you're ready, close your eyes. And we'll take a few deep breaths together. So breathe in. And breathe out. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale deeply. And exhale completely. Inhale. And exhale. Breathe in. And breathe out. And keep breathing. And focus your attention on your breath. Notice as your abdomen, as your tummy expands and contracts with every breath. At any point, not only in the next 30 minutes, but at any point, you can bring your attention to your breath. At any point, you can slow your breathing down. At any point, you can center yourself and look inwards. When what seems the outside world is getting busy or out of control or uncomfortable. Center yourself here with the breath at any moment you choose. I want you to bring your attention now just to the top of your head. Can you sit up a little straighter? And allow that focus of your attention on that top of your head. Just to sink into your forehead. Bring your attention to your eyes. What can your eyes see? Into your cheeks, and into your jaw. Notice any tension that you might have in your face and just allow that to relax. Bring your attention to your neck, to your shoulders, all the way down your spine, into where you're sitting, where you're seated, wherever you're placed. Into your hips, and down each leg, into your knees, down your shins and your calves, into your ankles, and all the way to that big toe of yours. And when your attention is there, just give yourself a little wave. Just wave your toes. Notice any sensations in your body, any tension, any discomfort. And there's nothing you need to do here. Just notice. The focus for today's session is resistance. And as I mentioned, there's a couple of ways that we can talk about resistance as it shows up in our everyday lives. The first is as a feeling. Resistance often comes to us and it's often veiled or clothed within a negative feeling. And of course I put negative in inverted commas. An uncomfortable feeling. And often we resist when we experience that feeling. We decide not to do something because we have a feeling, and we associate that feeling with that behavior or with that decision or with that person. And that feeling can often be frustration or anger or disappointment, sadness. But what we're doing in that moment is we are resisting life. We are resisting what is. Life is exactly as it is. Sometimes your day goes smoothly, and sometimes there's a few bumps in the road. But as I mentioned before, we are dissecting that day into hours, into minutes, into moments. And when we take a mindfulness-based approach to our everyday living, to our everyday lives, we don't resist the circumstances, the situations, the things that happen in our lives. We accept them without judgment. And we ask, okay, what are we going to do now? There's no need for any feeling beyond this. And so, what is that feeling? Where does that feeling come from? Why do we have them? Well, it means that we're kind of rubbing up against something. We're coming across something, what I would say, a piece of conditioning from our past, a belief from our past that things should be this certain way, or life should work in XYZ way, or this is important because of XYZ. So an example might be getting upset because some information has come out about you that you think is a bit embarrassing. And a belief that comes alongside that is that what other people think of you is incredibly important. Not only is it important, but it's actually one of the most important things. And that you can cultivate how people are going to think about you. And if you believe this to be true, then you spend a lot of time concerned with what people think. And I absolutely used to believe this was true. But I encourage you to examine your own thoughts and your own beliefs and judgments about people. And you'll notice that they arrive and they are formed incredibly quickly. And actually, there's very little control that we have over them. So if I don't control my own thoughts, how can I control what somebody else is thinking about me? That doesn't seem to make much sense. People will always think whatever they're going to think. And the last time I looked, I'm not a member of the thought police, and neither are you. So you don't have to worry about that. But that resistance and those feelings will arise. They will arise. And they'll show us areas of our thinking or our beliefs about the world. The second part of that resistance comes from resisting the resistance. You get sad, you get annoyed, you get angry, and socially we'll be told, no, that's not a good thing to feel, and so we then resist that feeling. We try to escape that feeling. This is not the way of mindfulness. This is not the message of mindfulness. The mindfulness message is to embrace, to accept, and to experience every feeling, every thought, every wonderful experience we get to have without judgment, without believing there's a right or a wrong way. When we resist the resistance, we create a closed feedback loop. And what I mean by this is we don't grow from the experience. We don't learn. All we do is we escape the experience that we're having. We distract ourselves. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being upset or annoyed or frustrated or angry. All of these emotions, all of these feelings, they all exist. They're all part of our experience. We don't need to be scared of them. We don't need to avoid them. In a moment, I'm going to count down from 5 to 1. And when I get to 1, I just want you to open your eyes in your own time. Try not to rush off anywhere. And I'll just hold this space for a few moments before we drift into another week, another moment. Five, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. We don't need to search for meaning from our emotions. The fact that we're feeling them, the fact that we're experiencing something, that's enough. That's more than enough. Because a fresh moment is here. Every single step of the way. So always, I saw a lovely quote. And I'm going to completely butcher it probably. But it said something like, always expect something wonderful to happen. Something wonderful can happen at any moment. And if you're able to consider that as fairly true, then certainly you will drift and float into the rest of your day. Thanks again. Thank you, Rita. Thank you, Cecile. And we'll see you again next time. Take care.